home is such a slippery signifier. It means so many different things, but it can also be quite a toxic term, home. So when somebody asks me that, I think home can be dangerous. And I always remember this wonderful poem called Havamal, The Words of Odin. Guard yourself always, going through doorways. You know, that being welcomed anywhere isn't necessarily, a straightforward business, or welcoming somebody into your home isn't necessarily a straightforward business. And the question, I think, is upsetting sometimes, especially when it's insisting on an answer about origins, ethnic or national, or if it's attempting to recruit me into home ownership. All of these things worry me. So if somebody says, where do you call home, they may be asking me these questions which are always loaded. I like to reply, when it's one of these national ethnic ones, as a woman, I have no country. As a woman, I want no country.
I think it's really interesting, the idea of home being dangerous. I was just reading this fantastic book of short stories by Laurie Moore, the American writer, and there's a story in that where an individual a character within the story tells a story of a hedgehog, and the hedgehog is quietly going along, and it sees a sign which says, "This could be your new home." And it goes into the house and it finds there are 3 alligators. And she never finishes the story, but you obviously get the sense of this kind of danger and exactly what Jane's sort of talking about.
Alligator.
This selling of a home. But when I was thinking about this, I share some of Jane's reservations about what home is, and I think that the sort of fixity and certainty, or the perceived certainty of a kind of home, I find troubling, and I don't really connect with that idea of home being a fixed and certain place, or a singular place. You know, I don't have a singular place that I want to be attached to in that sense of calling it home. But in a more figurative sense, the idea of home, or the idea of home that I find myself thinking, or the kind of metaphor of home or metaphorical use of the word home that I find myself connecting with so often, as probably with so many people, is the sort of clicking to a kind of home page, you know, like online, the home page, and the sort of that's the usage of home that I often find myself turning to.
That's lovely, because it really is acknowledging the sense of a textual space as home, which in the modern world, I mean, all the writing I love, I think of as being home, or visual art being a kind of home.
And
in
home,
that metaphoric sense, but also that home is a live thing. I suppose, I've never thought about it in terms of the digital home.
And it's more, I think of it as more like the sort of like refresh button, or whatever, to get back to the home page, and so it is a kind of base point, but it's also a shifting, because that's, obviously that home page can be completely different the next time you go to it than the time before. But I also completely concur with Jane's remarks about home being about the kind of world around you, and the books and the texts and the objects as well that you surround yourself with. So more, rather than home, I guess it's more about environment and the kind of environment you create for yourself.
And finally, just to say that Colin Herd is so at home in language, he wears it on his shirt.